Jason, welcome back to Connecticut.
Thank you, appreciate it.
When was the last time you were over at Windsor High School?
Windsor High there was a powder puff game, passing league for the ladies, and I was there, and I gave Glastonbury High School a championship trophy. So that was in, I want to say April 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
You graduated from Windsor 2017?
2017, yep.
Man, what do you remember about your senior year?
My senior year, all my guys, we were like, football, it's football. I remember all just my friends from all the little games we used to play, from whether it was at, what you call it? Oh, Lord. Oh, man, we used to go down to Washington Park and stuff, and we would just vibe out, man. But, I mean, it was just great with all my guys and stuff.
How did playing football over at Windsor High School help shape the player you are today?
Just the coaching and mentorship from Coach Fleet. Coach Fleet and all the guys, he always had a great supporting staff with him. And it wasn't just on the field, it was in school. A lot of the security guards in our high school, they were coaches and stuff. So you always had like an eye on you, and it was always like, that mentor, regardless of where you were through the school day and then right after school,
So you go from Windsor over to Pitt.
Yeah.
You start your college career. What was that like?
It was different. I wanted to get out. I wanted to kind of get out, but not too far, somewhere to, still drive. And just to explore. Pittsburgh is a very different city. It's split between 3 rivers. It's like 400-something bridges. So it was different. Learning to parallel park, very, very tight.
Sure.
So it was cool. And people saying yins and yinzer, and it just different culture, learning it, man. It was cool.
Now, when you were over at Windsor, you played defensive back.
Yeah.
You were also a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But then when you got to Pitt, you stayed on the defensive side of the ball, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why that decision?
I thought it was best for me in my career, size-wide and just athletic ability. There were a lot of receivers my size. I'm like, 6'2", so I'm like, that's an average size receiver, but like I was a big corner, so I knew I could, do my thing there and kind of stick out more. So,
did you want to be a receiver when you were in high school?
I did. I think every defensive back wants to be a receiver, though. That's like kind of the joke. But yeah, I definitely did. That was my first 4 to 5 offers. So I kind of just start getting them after that for a defensive back. And I was like, I think this is where I'm going to go.
Well, I mean, it worked out, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I'm sitting here, so I'm glad I did.
You're in the NFL, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You're on the New York Giants.
Yep. Yeah.
When you got the call, you were drafted by the New York Jets. Mm-hmm. What do you remember from that night?
It's like a movie scene. Like you just go numb. I got it up on my YouTube, and it's still days I go back and I watch it, and I'm like, it's that raw emotion. It's there's no way to describe it in feelings. I always say to people, it's just getting that call of your dreams, of sitting down on the carpet, staring at the TV since you were 7, like. I want to get that feeling. You see draft day calls all the time, social media, YouTube, whatever, and it was like, every kid's like, I want that to be me. Like, I wonder who's gonna call my phone, So it was surreal in it for it to be my team, my childhood team, growing up and so close to home.
You were a Jets fan?
Yeah, I was.
Who was on the other side of the phone? Joe Douglas?
I believe it was Joe. I talked to, but they passed the phone around. I talked to Joe, I talked to Salah, I talked to all my guys, so it was good, man.
So Joe Douglas is on the phone. What did he say to you?
I can't remember for where I.
It was all a blur?
It was a blur. You see it in the video. I just dropped down. I'm grabbing my brother, and I was just crying, man. It's just. Because it came up on my phone, some guys don't get that notification, but mine said, New York Jets. And I was like, wow, like, they're not calling to say hello right now, so I knew it was real.
Who was with you that day, the day you got the call?
Yeah, so I was at Spare Time up in Windsor by the airport, and it was all my family. It was a private event, from cousins to college friends to childhood friends to aunts, uncles, you name it. It was just surrounded by love, surrounded by all the people that helped shape me to getting that call,
You're living the dream, man.
Yeah, as they would say.
How's the off season going?
It's going good. We just finished up OTAs over there, so been doing good. Got to see the guys again, got to get back in rhythm, get your routine, kind of bulletproof that body again, and get back going and ready to get back for camp later in July.
Tell everyone why you're back in Connecticut.
So I'm from my youth football camp. We got our first annual Jason Pinnock youth football camp over at Jack O'Brien Stadium, and I'm super excited. Like I'm jittery for the camp. It's just something like as a kid, I went from Jim Calhoun camps, you know, and kids from small towns being able to see a person doing what they dream, you know, and I walk the same streets as I tell kids. I come back and Flea had me talk to them, or Captain Kira's track coach had me talk to kids, and I'm like, I did exactly what you're complaining about right now, you know? Like, where when you're a kid, you don't see it. You don't see, you know, what it could do for you, you know, at the time. So, man.
Who are the players you grew up watching, the ones you looked up to?
Darrell Revis, and that was such a life circle. Like it full circle, man. Obviously we all know he played for the Jets. I got drafted by the Jets. I played with his cousin, Jordan Whitehead, a good friend of mine, and just came full circle. He played for Pitt. I went to Pitt. I remember my sophomore year, I worked his camp, and I was able to talk to him and chop it up and kind of pick his brain. And I mean, it was amazing. Like my whole journey.
Man, that must have been surreal.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And first ballot Hall of Famer too.
Man, who you telling?
Well, it seems like you're on his track, no?
Yeah, I'm trying to get there.
Going the Pitt.
Yeah.
Man. All right, so you're going back to Windsor High School. What sort of wisdom do you hope to impart on these kids?
Hope. Life is about decisions. You know, my pops was real big on don't be a follower. You know, do what's right, do what you know is right, regardless of the crowd. You know, regardless of the majority. I just want to show them that like it can be done. You know, from the same, because I know those thoughts. You know, kind of when you walk in and walking around dribbling that basketball, or you throwing up that football at the ceiling, and you're like, you know, that's not possible. It ain't really real. You know, that's the 1%. You know. But I just want to let them know it's hope and it's other ways. A big thing for me was the Boys and Girls Club, you know, as far as my mentorship young, because, I mean, my parents were working, you know. It was trying to keep a roof over our head and food on our, you know, our plate, and just show the kids, bro, it's possible. And just the little time I do have back home, I hope my words kind of help them make just that one decision that could, you know, change their life.
I mean, these kids are young. That are going to be at this camp.
Yeah.
I think 5 to 12.
12. Mm-hmm.
What do you remember from being that age and that height?
Not much then, and I always joke with my dad, I wish I could go back. It wasn't much responsibility. Just running around playing football. That was the only thing on my mind at those times. I love football. My pops played, and so since 6 years old through all the way, you know, it was just football.
I think there's something we want to show you before we wrap up this interview. Frank, could we roll the sound from Jason back in high school?
We definitely think about how it felt to win against Notre Dame that night, and then we think about how New Canaan came on our field. You know, we just take both of those and fuse it together and just use it to try and just overcome everything and just take it all this year.
Memories just flooding back to you, huh?
Man, the jersey, the practice jersey, it's little things like that you forget. Wow, man.
What do you remember?
Everything.
What are the memories?
From getting ready in the locker room with my guys and playing music and walking over across the baseball fields to practice. Like, dang, that's crazy. That's crazy.
How old were you there?
I had to be 16. The little dreads, they kind of gave me a little, either 16 or 15, but I want to say 16.
What would you say to 16-year-old Jason?
Keep going, bro. You on the right track. You on the right track. Keep going. You know, keep being you. Don't let nothing faze you. Don't try and fit in. Be you.
I think that's sound advice.
Yeah.
When did the dreads go away?
So I did that. That was right before I got drafted, and I always said that. I was like, you know, I'm gonna have my fun, and then right before the draft, kind of cut them off, feel a little lighter, get a little, you know, a little cleaner, and get a clean cut. But it was February 21, because I got drafted 21, so it's February.
You remember the exact day?
Yeah, because it was pretty planned. I was out in Dallas, and I did a whole video. I did a whole video shoot and stuff, and it was dope. It was 9+ years of dread down the middle of my back. So.
Wow. Any chance they come back anytime soon? No. You're done? No. It's in the past?
Yeah, it's in the past. Everybody asks me that, and it's like, nah, I'm good. Too much maintenance for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, the camp is tomorrow over at Windsor High School, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., open to boys and girls ages 5 to 12, and it's free. Why is it important for this to be a free camp?
Non-profit for me. Again, it's not, there's nothing, I want or need more for them to understand the things I wanted to know, at that age, and the knowledge I was looking for, and the hope of, being around these guys and being able to laugh and play and throw the football and stuff with them. Like, that was my dream as a kid, and that's really it.
Jason Pinnock, New York Giants, back at Windsor High School to impart some wisdom on the next generation of football stars.